Hello. So, yeah, it's been announced on ABC News that police have identified the remains at Chad Daybell's property in Salem as being those of Tylee and JJ. So if they've been able to identify the remains as these two young children, hopefully there is some way that they can also identify the way that these children were murdered, because let's rain down holy terror, worldly terror on the Chad and on Laurie Cox Daybdll for the heinous crimes that they've committed. Extremely egregious. They're extremely disgusting people, and I'd like to know where Tylee and JJ were prior to this. Were they in Arizona? Where were they, and how were they able to be moved? How were they able to even be in some sort of state where they could be burned, if that's what's happened? Or was it just belongings that were burned? Who knew where their bodies were prior to this? Who had knowledge of that? Who had knowledge that they were actually moved when Tammy left the property to visit her parents? Who transported them? In which vehicle? Can cadaver dogs be taken to any vehicle known to anyone in this group? Because every last bastard needs to be brought to justice. There should not be one single person, perpetrator involved that gets away scot-free, that gets away with cutting a deal. If indeed that's what Melanie Gibb's done, is that why Melanie Gibb felt comfortable enough to speak up? Oh, I can speak up now because I've got assurances from the police that whatever I've said is valuable enough to them that they're going to leave me alone. No one is exempt from justice in this case. These people are serial killers, and yes, I believe it is a cult, and I believe that Laurie and Chad coming together, it's just been a powder keg, just this unnatural union that has had this, it's like some sort of Betsy B mentioned weird science, and it's kind of like weird science. That is exactly what this is, but I think it is folie à deux, and I've believed that for a long while, and I think if Laurie never approached Chad to actually meet him in person, that many things wouldn't have happened. But I'm not 100% convinced that Laurie didn't have murderous ability and take murderous action prior to meeting the Chad, because I am very suspicious about Joseph Ryan's death, and we all know that Alex is perfectly capable prior to meeting Chad of grievous bodily harm towards someone. So we've got someone that was already serving jail time before this unholy union of Chad and Laurie. But let's just see how it plays out. I'm sure that forensically all resources are going to go into finding out what they can about JJ and Tylee and how they were murdered. I would love Nate Eaton of East Idaho News to write a book. I wonder if he has the desire to do that, because I think in his words, and just laying out from his side of it too, how his investigative I can never say that word, journey went with what was reflecting in the media and with what he was presenting. It would be utterly fascinating, and also I think he would be able to actually discover and unpick a lot of things that we would all like to know with regards to people's involvement, with regards to how things were done, the sleight of hand, the arrangements. I mean, obviously when Laurie disappeared for 2 months, that was their plotting. Trust me, they plotted for 2 months on they had a long-term goal, game plan, her and Chad, and yeah, it would be great to know more, because I mean, this is just a stunning, this whole situation is such a stunning turn of events. It's such a stunning display of what human beings are capable of, and let's just keep the faith that these people are anomalies, that they are abominations, and that good will prevail. See you later.